CasaShelters.com.
You have heard the phrase, it takes a village. It certainly does. And thank goodness that village continues to grow and grow for kids in our area who might otherwise slip through the cracks and find themselves not on the best path in life. This morning, we're very happy to be able to shine kind of a spotlight on two people, husband and wife, Gerald and Lois Crawford. They are up in the Bradley Polk County area. And for, do I have this right, 10 years, the two of you have been part of CASA?
No, this is our 10-year anniversary. CASA's been in Cleveland for 10 years this August, but we have been advocates for about 3 years.
Okay, so explain, give me what CASA stands for.
CASA is court-appointed special advocates.
So here the two of you sit on your porch this morning, and people might not think to look at you looking so happy that every day or every week you are tapped by a judge to say, look, there's a kid over here that I'm concerned about. See what you can find out to help me get him or her on the right path.
Yes, we are appointed by a judge, and we are the voice of the child in court. She appoints us to go to the home, to meet the kid, to meet the parents, to talk to them and really find out what's going on in that child's life. And then we are her eyes. We are trying to find out everything we can about that situation to make sure that that child is safe and cared for.
So you've been doing this, Gerald, for about 3 years. What was your background before you got involved?
Actually, in college, I was a psych and sociology major. Until my senior year, I discovered what they called at the time data processing, and I changed over to make money. So I'm back now to serve people.
And how about you, Lois?
I was a teacher. I taught 5th grade for a long time and loved it. And those are my favorite kids to work with, the elementary school children. What happened with us was I would see pictures in the paper of CASA, and I would always say to him, I could do that. And when I found out, I went to apply and have my interviews and talk to people, and I found out I couldn't, everything we do is confidential. And I couldn't talk to him about it. I convinced him to join me, and it's really been nice because we are obviously from two different directions, IT and teaching.
Right.
And so we can get different. I'm laughing because our dog is trying to see the TV. I'm sorry.
Oh. Hey, you know what? That's been one of the most fun things about this remote interviewing that we have done is that real life has a way of sneaking in. So if the dog photobombs, don't worry about a thing. So talk to me a little bit, though, because I know that you mentioned, Lois, that the organization is always looking for more people like you to help. So I want to talk a little bit about what it's like for you. You get this assignment from the judge. I'm sure by now it's gotten a little bit easier, that initial approach into a home. But I would imagine there have been times when families weren't really too eager to see you knocking at the door.
Most of the time they know that we work for the judge, and they really, most of the time, they want to leave a good impression. And sometimes, we have to look through that because, nobody wants to tell terrible things about themselves. You want to shine. You want to give your good points. But we just go into the home. We look around. We talk to them. We try to make everybody comfortable. But we are trained. We have training in child welfare best practices. We are trained in how to go into the home. We're trained how to do this. We don't just go in cold.
Yeah, CASA has actually a 30-hour formal training session that everyone goes through. It's national standard, so it's not something they just cooked up here in Bradley County.
So I don't want to get unnecessarily dramatic with it, Gerald, but we did hear from the very early days of COVID concerns raised about many children across the country who were now home, and that might not be the safest place for them to be. Has that raised a concern for you, given what you've seen in your years?
Yes, it has. Since we're in actually COVID's target age group, we've kind of been distancing and only working through the phone on this. That it does present a problem, though, or a potential problem anyway, because the home environment a lot of times has very much to do with what's going on in the kid's life.
Mm-hmm. And so Lois, as your former self when you were a teacher, that's part of a teacher's job, is that he or she really does get to know their kids' lives, and they're not going to be able to see that in quite the same way this year.
You're right, and that has been a concern for us. But I think now that the courts are going back again and things are starting to get moving, I think I don't think our court, it's not slowed down. Our referrals really have not slowed down that much. There's always been cases for us to investigate.
Have you had an opportunity in the 3 years that you've been doing this to have a case or two where you've made your recommendation back to the judge, and then you're able to follow that child or teen and see that there's a good outcome?
Well, we're still following what it was our second or third case when we joined. It was and still could be extremely difficult case. Took a lot of time, a lot of our effort, and it was only two years into it when we actually succeeded, if you want to call it that. Charles was placed in another environment, the children were placed in another environment, and they're actually blossoming now, by all accounts, doing a lot better than they were. And we still follow them. Lois called one of them, the lady, yesterday or day before.
And we try to keep up with them and make sure things are still going well. Once COVID slows down a little bit, we'll go back to schools and start seeing those children again, and I look forward to that.
So for people who are hearing you and thinking, I think that's where my heart's pulling me to, what would you encourage them to think about?
Well, if you're in Cleveland, just call. I think you have the phone number there, and find out what it's all about. And if you find out more and find that this is something you can do, we welcome you. There are CASAs in, I believe, every county. It's a national organization. We work for CASA in Bradley, Polk counties. But there is one in Hamilton County as well. But we'd love to have you help us over here.
Well, we thank you so much for your time this morning, and your dog gets a treat for not making an appearance.
But he's a good boy.
He's a good boy. Thank you both so much, and really and truly, they couldn't do the work they do without people like you. So what great hearts to serve.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So the website for the CASA in Bradley and Polk that you heard Lois mention is simply casabp.org. And she did mention the phone number. Here it is. It's 423-472-5800. You can give them a call, and you too could be helping area kids find their path on the right footing. We're back in a minute.
If you're even thinking about making a move this year, then you need to talk with me about my guaranteed offer. You see, with the